Hey guys, just wanting to show you a power supply that I got for the MAME cabinet that I'm building. I had another power supply. It was actually a brand new one that it had been used to power on a PC once or twice, and I had it in storage, and it was like a 400 watt, I think, 400 or 350 watt. It was a good power supply. It was kind of an off-name brand, and I was going to use it with the rest of the electronic parts and stuff I had here to build the PC that will be running in the MAME cabinet. But I used it in a friend's PC recently because he had a power supply go out, and instead of ordering one, I just went ahead and sold it to him at a decent price, and I told him I'd put that cash towards a brand new power supply because I figured it would be kind of nice to buy a brand new one for the MAME cabinet. And they had some Black Friday deals on Newegg.com, and that's where I shop for most of my computer parts. And this power supply here was a pretty good power supply. Had, good reviews. I'd say 90% of the reviews were really good. A few people had got a couple of dead units, and when there's hundreds and hundreds being sold on that site, you're going to get a few bad reviews, but most of them were good, and most people had good luck out of them. This isn't really what I was thinking of getting because it's got a few extra bells and whistles that aren't necessary for a MAME cabinet. Like, it's got a large fan with LED lighting on it, and it's blue lighting. It's kind of neat, but you may never see it inside the MAME cabinet. I mean, it's kind of a just kind of a little extra there. That's not really why I bought it, but I figured, well, if something happens and I end up reselling it, someone might like this in a custom case or something. But the cool thing about this is if you look in the picture, there's a small red button on this power supply, and you can actually cut the LED lighting off if you don't want to use it. And I thought, well, that'll be good in case I don't want to use it, or in case one of the lights go out, because there was a review or two, I think, that said one of them said the fan stopped working, and another one said that the one of the LED lights on the fan had went out. And it's a possibility even with LED lights that does happen from time to time. But either way, I can disable it with the button. And this is kind of a partially modular power supply. Let's see if I can find a picture. Let's see. On the back here, if you take a look, it's got like that looks like I haven't even opened it yet. It's still in cellophane. But the main harness, the main power connection that goes to your PCB, your motherboard on your computer, they're hardly ever modular. I've got a couple modular power supplies in the past, and they're usually connected because they know that you don't need to detach that at any point. But the other type of connections that you would use for PCI Express or any kind of Molex connectors that would be giving power to drives or anything like that, they usually make those detachable, so you can only hook up the ones you need. And you may only have one drive in your system or something, and maybe you might have a video card with no PCI Express power connection. It doesn't need any extra power, or you might have built-in video, so you won't need those connectors. Well, why have all that extra wiring dangling around in your case and causing less airflow or airflow restrictions, and that could cause certain parts to overheat or run hotter than they should. So that's the big thing about that. Plus, it's just neater to have the modular cable system. Well, this is kind of partially modular. I think there's a little bit of a dongle of cables that kind of hangs off, and I'm not sure. I haven't even opened the case and looked. But I think either some of these cables are connected all the time that they think you might use all the time, and some of them you can disconnect, or you may connect the cables up to these, and it just makes an extension off of these little pigtails here to go onto the rest of your case. But either way, that partial modular design there, that's a little bit of a help. And this is a 530 watt power supply. Has two 12-volt rails. You can see right here listed the first 12-volt rail at 20 amps output and the second one at 20 amps output. And of course, it's got other rails, 3.3 volts, 25 amps, 5 volts, 25 amps. You usually have a 5-volt standby right here, 2 amps, and negative 12 volts, 0.5 amps. And these newer power supplies, they don't have negative 5 volts. Most newer motherboards don't need it, but there are some older motherboards that do require negative 5 volts, and they won't boot up. Some old motherboards need that, and these newer power supplies, they don't even supply it really. But I don't think that motherboard I've got here, it's running, I think it's an AMD Sempron processor, 2 point something gigahertz, I believe. I got this motherboard here with the chip on it and everything, and a gig around from a guy on one of the forums, and he sold it to me dirt cheap, and I figured I'd go ahead and try it and see how it runs this this PC for MAME. But anyway, just wanted to show you this power supply. I was kind of excited about it. It looks like a really nice one, you know, 530 watt, a little beefier than the last one that I was going to use with the system. But that'll be used to put together with the rest of the parts when we get that built and put in the cabinet. And also wanted to talk just a little bit about some of these Newegg rebates. They always like to try to make you think you're getting an excellent deal. And I mean, it was a Black Friday sale. The power supply is listed normal prices being $55. Now, I have no idea if this power supply is actually sold for $55 on that site before, or if that's just a price they list, because they list it and they have it marked out, and they're like, you know, it was a Black Friday sale. It was selling for 40 bucks. I think it was $39.99. And currently, right now, after the Black Friday sale, it's still up for $45, which is still pretty good for this, you know, with the kind of reviews it got. But they give you a rebate. And I got the rebate form here that I have to send in and everything. And the rebate, it's listed like whenever they had the power supply, they said that you could actually get this power supply not for $40 but actually $25, you know, with this rebate that was going. Well, the rebate was only good for 1 day. I had to buy it on the 29th, so I did purchase it on the 29th around 1 p.m. and it logged that in my invoice that I ended up having to print out of my email that it sent me. But you just have to jump through so many hoops to make these things work out, you know. Okay, it was only valid for the 1 day. You can see right there, offer valid on 11/29/2013 only. And you go on down, you get to looking, and it tells you the exact item, so that item has to match up with what's on your invoice and all, that it's a $15 rebate, so you, in essence, would be getting this $40 power supply for 25 bucks. And then it's like you got to register it online. They've got a website listed here. You got to go online and register it first. They tell you there's a limit, 1 rebate per invoice, per promotion period, per household. You got to have it postmarked within 15 days of the purchase date when you send this in. Only the invoice along with this form will be accepted. You cannot, you know, within 15 calendar days, you cannot include a packing list, order confirmation, or anything like that. It will invalidate your rebate. And once again, they restate you must register online first, then mail your form in, and you have to cut out your original UPC barcode and send it with a copy of your invoice and all. And they show you a sample of a UPC code, and they give you the address to send all this to. And down below it says, caution, please register your rebate information online. If not, we'll not have your information and not process your rebate. You will not receive your rebate check if you do not register on www.rebatecenterinc.com. And they got a lot of fine print underneath here. But the thing is, they tell you in the fine print, you know, to keep copies of all your stuff. But they want you to send your original UPC code that you cut off of the box. Okay, you cut your original UPC code off the box, and in the fine print they also say that they will not send any of that stuff back to you if for some reason it's invalidated, and they will not notify you if for some reason they have invalidated your rebate submission. They won't even notify you is what it says. See if I can find it and I'll kind of zoom in on it. Okay, here we go, right here. Let's see. Okay, right here. If you look in the center of the screen, RAID Max will not inform customers if their submissions are not complete or invalid. Your rebate rights cannot be transferred, blah blah blah. But anyway, they won't notify you. And also it says keep copies of all materials submitted. Originals become RAID Max property and will not be returned. And then it says rebates will not be recognized after 6 months of the purchase date. I'm like, well, why are you even saying that? Because you got to send all this in within 15 days. It has to be postmarked within 15 days. I don't know what this 6-month period even is. Now, it takes them 10 to 12 weeks to get the rebate back to you. So for 10 or 12 weeks, you're sitting around hoping that your submission was done absolutely perfect and you don't know if it's been invalidated or not. And then after 10 or 12 weeks, I mean, I assume you can do nothing but just sit there and say, well, I haven't got my $15 rebate. And then even though they tell you to keep copies of all your original materials, they have your original UPC code that you've cut off your box, and it becomes their property, even if they decide not to give you your rebate or anything. So you can't resubmit it, because not only will it be past the 15 days, but you don't have your original UPC code off the box to submit to them. And once you have submitted your rebate, let me see if I can find that. Okay, right here, let's see. If you look in the center of the screen, it says RaidMax products may not be returned for refund once the rebate form has been submitted. And RaidMax is not responsible for any liabilities, taxes, or blah, blah, blah. Okay, so they're killing your possibility of getting any kind of replacement on this. If you've already sent off for the rebate, whether you've gotten it or not, it sounds like they will not even replace this defective piece of merchandise. At least RaidMax won't. I'm not sure if you could get Newegg to do it or not. They may have records, you know, since you're sending your invoice to RaidMax that you have sent off the rebate. I don't know if you'd be able to get the item replaced, or maybe at least you couldn't get a refund. You might get a replacement of a defective item. I'm not positive, but it's like they're making you jump through all these hoops just to get your $15 and trying to make it as hard as possible, and then they leave you no avenue to resubmit or, you know, trying to fix or correct any kind of errors. They're basically hoping, just like most of these mail-in rebate things, that you don't successfully get your money, because they want the full price, you know, because it was on sale anyway. It's just like Best Buy. They would always advertise something like, they might advertise a $80 hard drive for, you know, $65, and you get a $20 mail-in rebate. Well, they'll sit here and say, it's only $45. It's originally $80, you know. Well, you're paying $65, and you walk out the door, you got to send in a $20 mail-in rebate. They're hoping that you'll get home, enjoy your hard drive, forget about the rebate, or lose something, or not send something incorrectly, and they won't have to pay you the extra $20 back, because that's part of their profit. But I just think it's funny. I'm going to go ahead and send this in anyway, because it'd be killer to get this this power supply for only $25 out of pocket, because I did get free shipping. And by the way, I hate FedEx too. FedEx just, I don't know why, but FedEx, every time I try to deliver to me, it seems like it's some kind of a hassle. I've had a few good deliveries, but, you know, I've had parts in the past that they claimed that they tried to deliver and nobody was here to accept it, and that was bogus. I'd be here waiting for them, even out in the yard one time, and for days there was one package with tons of computer parts for a lady I was building a computer for, and it never showed up. And finally I got so sick of waiting that I just went to their distribution center that was about an hour away, and I picked the parts up myself, because I knew they were there, you know. And I got tired of them falsely listing that nobody was here for, you know, receiving the goods. But this time, this showed up in my hometown 2 days before I got it, and it sit in my hometown saying that it was on schedule, that it was going to be delivered. It was originally supposed to be delivered 2 days ago, which was a Wednesday, according to their, you know, their initial prediction. And then as it got closer, they upped it to Tuesday. They said, hey, we can get it to you by Tuesday. It showed on there that it'd be delivered on Tuesday. And by Monday, it was sitting in my hometown, and it said it was in my city, and it was in transit, and it was on schedule. And it had been there since 8 a.m. Well, it never made it. And the way this particular FedEx does is they drop it off at the post office, and they finish the delivery. You know, once it leaves FedEx hands, the post office finishes the delivery of the item. I've had that happen a couple of times before. Well, it must have sit at the post office for 2 days, because not only did it not get here on Monday, which I didn't really expect it to, but it didn't get here Tuesday, which was the scheduled day. I waited all the way up till about 7 p.m., and I finally noticed an update to the status. It no longer said on schedule. It didn't say anything. It was blank for a while, and then it went back to saying in transit. And then in transit disappeared, and it started being blank again. And the delivery date, it went blank, and then finally it said NA, not applicable. So they had not even set a new delivery date, and it didn't make it on that Tuesday. Well, I waited around for it, and finally it did come on a Wednesday, and I got confirmation while I was at work. I looked on my cell phone, and you know, I was able to track it, and it showed it did get delivered, and you know, they dropped it off. So you know, it was just kind of weird that, you know, it'd been in my hometown for 2 days and couldn't make it to my house. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, shoot, I could go to where it's at and pick it up probably. But anyway, enough rambling about FedEx. You know, UPS, the only problem I've had with them is I did have them toss a kind of expensive print head for a multifunction unit, you know, about 15 foot up onto a high porch at the front of my property, and, you know, not a care in the world, just threw it up there. It was in a small box and didn't care if they busted it or not. Luckily, it came through okay. But mostly UPS has done much better to me. Usually I meet the guys out there. They come at almost the same time, around 5 to 5:30 every day. You know, I see some of the same, you know, fellows delivering here in my neighborhood, you know, and they recognize me and bring the package. I meet them halfway because it's kind of a long walk up from my driveway. And they usually just leave the package. Every once in a while FedEx won't leave it unless you sign for it, and I know some of it requires signature, but you know, I've heard those stickers that they leave on your door where you can check that they can leave it without a signature. Sometimes that doesn't help. They still won't leave it, you know. But mostly it's been UPS, and they've done great. Anytime it's FedEx, it's like it's a 50-50 thing, you know. I'll have problems, you know, failed delivery attempts, stuff like that. But anyways, enough rambling about that. Just wanted to give you a lowdown on that, you know, and some of you guys have probably experienced some of the same problems. But 16-minute video, a lot of rambling. You guys take care. Hopefully I'll get the main machine a little more complete. It's just working 6 days a week and can't do the things I love to do, have to do the things I have to do, you know, and all these parts are sitting here. I got a brand new hard drive for it, 1 terabyte I bought, you know, months ago, probably almost a year ago, and it hasn't even left the box, you know. Like I say, all this stuff stays here packed up, and, you know, I don't even know if it worked, haven't tested it, just hope it does. But I got it on a sale. I think I got it for $40 after using some Best Buy bucks and some type of discount I had, so that's pretty good for a 1 terabyte drive. And you know, hopefully I'll get my rebate back and have a nice power supply for the MAME system, and maybe it'll be for a net cost of $25 if I'm lucky. But you guys take care, and see you later. Hey guys, figured what the hey, I'll go ahead and open this up and show you guys a little bit. Got the power supply open here, and just tore the cellophane off. I haven't even looked at it yet, but just wanted to show you guys a little bit. Power supply is still wrapped up in some bubble wrap. Here's the modular cabling. This is what you would choose, like what you want to connect, like how many drives you have, what types of drives, and different things that need to be powered in your computer inside your case, and you would pick the cables that you want, attach them to the power supply, and use only those cables so that you would have less clutter and increased airflow. Like right here, you can see this connection right here. That would be one of the connectors that goes right into the power supply, and it would give power to all these, like to these Molex connectors here for certain types of DVD, CD-ROM, Blu-ray players, Blu-ray recording drives or burners. And you've got another one on the other side. You've got an old type floppy power connector. So you got one floppy connector, the big Molex type connectors, 2 big Molex type connectors on this side. So that would pretty much be basically all you would need, unless you were installing more than 3 large drives and a floppy drive. That would be all you'd need for the old legacy type stuff. Now we'll set that down. Here's another one. Let's see what we got on this one. Okay, serial ATA power connections. That's the end right there that would go into the power supply itself. And then on the other end, you have another serial ATA. So you got dual serial ATA connections for power on this cable. And that would be all a lot of people would need, since everything's going to serial ATA. That would support like 1 hard drive and you know, maybe 1 DVD burner or Blu-ray burner or something. See what else we got in here. Got a packet of screws, of course, if you don't have any for your case. There's another connection, and it's identical to the last one I showed you. Got serial ATA power on one end, and serial ATA power, and then the connector that goes into the power supply. And let's see. Well, dropped my cables off the end of the box. But anyway, they survived. Okay, here you've got PCI Express connections, and they're color coded too. This helps you, I guess, identify where to plug them on the power supply. But that's the plug that would go on the power supply, and you've got a 6-pin PCI Express connection there for like a video card. On the other end, you also have another 6-pin PCI Express. Some of these cards require 2 of those, and sometimes you'd be running a configuration with 2 cards. It might only have one PCI Express 6-pin connector on each card, so that could power both of them. Some people would like to try to do that with 2 separate cables, hoping that they would be on maybe 2 separate rails of the 12 volt or something, if that's what was supplying it. And then you've got these small connectors here, and you know what, to be honest with you, I'm not absolutely 100% positive what those small ones are for. They are keyed. You see the shape of them on the end, but that's just it's just 2 connections there. Oh, okay, that's for, I know exactly what that's for. Sorry, brain fart. But this right here can be sistered up to the side of this to give you an 8-pin connection on your PCI Express, because some of them are 8-pin. So if you take a look, closely right here, there's these little tiny snap-on edges there on this piece, and it would snap onto the side of this 6-pin PCI Express connection and make it an 8-pin connection. So this would be the side it wouldn't snap on, this would be the side it would. See how flush it is? So it would attach onto that side and clip on, and it'd make this, in essence, an 8-pin connector. So there's one of those on each end along with the 6-pin PCI Express connector. So this is basically like having 2 8-pin if you need them, but if not, you just leave the double pin connection there off, and you've got a 6-pin PCI Express connection. So I'll go ahead and set this in the floor since the others fell down beside the box. Okay, let's see. Got another one in here. Another serial ATA. This is identical to the other 2 I showed you. There's a connection for your power supply. I know it's hard to see the ends of those because it's solid black. You got serial ATA. And on the other side, you got serial ATA again. So that's a total of possibly 3 connectors that have double serial ATA power connections on it that can go to this power supply. Let's see. The ever useful pack of silica desiccant to make sure that you do not eat this. Don't eat it. Okay, let's see. Got your AC power cord, of course. Some of the newer power supplies that are rated as green power supplies, I bought 2 of them for some systems I built about a year ago for a friend's father. They're not coming with these cords because they know a lot of people already have cords, and they may be using a power supply as a repair unit, or they've got a lot of these cords sitting around, so they're like, well, let's not package them in. It'll save the consumer money, and there won't be another cord that they might be throwing away from, you know, either an old computer they're upgrading or something like that. Maybe they didn't need that old cord or something, so they're not coming with some of the green power supplies. I think Antec Earthwatts was the ones I bought last year for 2 systems I built a friend's dad, and they did not have these AC power cords, but I didn't mind that much because it did save just a few dollars supposedly off the price, and I had probably a box full of these, probably 20 or 30 of them, so I had plenty to go around. Okay, let's see. Alright, here, these are connected to the power supply. I'm going to cut for a second. I'm going to get the bubble wrap off of this. Okay, there's the beast in all its glory. You can see the very large fan installed on top. I think this is 120 millimeter if I'm not mistaken. Thought it's time to list that on the box. Oh, 135 millimeter, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's listed on the box. 135 millimeter blue LED fan. Keeps your system cool. But it's a really large fan. If you take a look at my hand, this power supply is about the size of a lot of them I install, a little larger than some of the generic ones. But you can see my hand there on top. I've got like medium sized hands. I don't have super large hands, but 135 millimeter fan, that's moving a good bit of air there, and it does have the LED lights that light up. And here on the side you see these pigtails hanging off, and I'll pull them to the side so you can take a look at them. Okay, there they are. Now these pigtails extend. You don't have plugs in the side of the power supply like I was assuming. The one I have in my current system is a modular, and it has actual plugs on the side. It's an Antec, I can't remember the exact name, but on the side of the casing of the power supply, there's places where you plug in these cords for your PCI Express and all your Molex connectors and all. So these would plug directly into the power supply. Well, I don't know, maybe possibly it was a way to save money. You would take this, like for PCI Express, let's see, this would plug right into there, and you see on the back side there, see if I can do it one-handed, yeah, clicks in and connects. So these only extend off about, looks like about 3 inches. They come off about 3 inches to the plug, and then you hook on your extension, and that gives you power to like your PCI Express. And then these would probably be for like Molex connectors, the three with the serial ATA connections, and the legacy power connections for the floppy and the older hard drives and CD drives and stuff. So the only one that's really color coded then is the PCI Express. The others are all black, and they're all, let's see, yeah, look like they're all perfectly identical the way they look, except for the PCI Express. Let me disconnect that for a second. Take a look at it. Yeah, it's keyed differently, so you couldn't accidentally plug anything on there except for the PCI Express. Might be hard for you to see the shape on the end, but the shape of one or two of those is a little different. But that's how you would attach your extensions. That's why it's like partially modular. A lot of people reviewed it as. And then of course this right here cannot be disconnected, and this is your main 20-pin connection, and it has a little add-on, the 4 there. It makes it a 24-pin connector. You can pop those pins to the leftmost side of the connector off the 4 pins, and it'd make it a 20-pin connector for older style motherboards. And you do have 2 4-pin connectors there to supply 12 volts to some motherboards that require it. Sometimes they only require one of these, sometimes they require both. They'll have either 4 or 8 position, 8-pin connection there on the motherboard that you would plug this into, and that would give extra 12 volt power, I believe, to your CPU. And you know, a lot of these CPUs are kind of power hungry. I think some of them are like 125 watt these days, so they need extra juice to help them run. But all in all, looks like a pretty nifty power supply. Got the power ratings over on the other side. I know they're upside down. On the back side, you got a selector for voltages if you're in another country. It always comes on 115 volts for US there, and got your on off switch, your connection for your AC power, and then you've got the button that disables the fan lights, the blue LED fan lights. So you press it in, it must be disabled. You let it kick back out, and the fan lights burn while the fan's spinning. So pretty nice black satin finish, not overly shiny, not mirror finish, which I usually don't like the mirror finish. On the inside of the case it's not that bad. On the outside it's like constant fingerprints and smudges, you know. But anyway, figured I'd show you guys a little close-up of this. That added about 5 minutes to this video. So anyway, there's almost 20 minutes of video on this power supply. I'll let you know how it does. I need to power it up and test it and make sure it's okay before I send this rebate in case I want to have any problems swapping this out, in case it has arrived DOA. But I have very little trouble with stuff like that, you know. We'll just say, well, that's metal. This cabinet's got too much metal on it. We'll say knock on plywood that's covered in plexi and artwork. But anyway, talk to you guys later. Take care.